So, welcome everybody to the April episode of Unlimited, where we interview people that are unlimited in their mind and have done incredible research in the world. And I'm really excited tonight. We have Jimmy Blanchette, who has changed my life in many ways, has brought me so much joy over the years. As many of you know, he's the founder of the famous radio contact technique, where ETs are interfacing with ham radios. And it's really a joy to have something so physical and something so audible. And it's been a beautiful way to interact with them. And he's going to be sharing his profound research. You know, last week on Saturday, we interviewed Dan Winters, who also talks about these same numbers as being governing principles of the fabric of the universe. And I think once we begin to get deeper into this and we start to understand how things work, we really can elevate our connection with them and understand what Jimmy's been getting actual messages, instructions, guidance on how things are in the world. And he's such an amazing heart and soul, and he's really sharing his research with the world. So I honor him for doing that. And before we get started, just want to remind you that Jimmy's going to be doing a CE5 with all of us on April 25th at 8 o'clock. So in 2 weeks on Thursday. This is for members only. So as most of you know, we branched LightNet out into Starseed Academy for the ultra geeks, the Starseeds out there, and then LightNet. So if you are not a member, it's $144 because Jimmy has influenced us with this number so much. So you go to starseedacademy.org/join, and that's where you can participate in this incredible CE5 that we're doing. So welcome, Jimmy. It's such an honor to have you, and thanks for showing up for all the research you've done in the world. It's just stunning. It's mind-blowing what you've been able to accomplish.
Thank you so much, Zenka, for the very warm introduction. I really appreciate it. I appreciate very much the opportunity to share this information with everyone. Hi, everyone. Share this information, I think, which is important with the world. And it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I got a full stack of slides, 45 slides, a lot of video clips of my own experience, also other experiencers' experience, and to see also that not only we can make contact that way, but also, as you mentioned accurately earlier, you know, the intelligence is really communicating information to us through these communications. So whether it's through the energy that's being transferred through the radio itself, because again, they are not responding with regular radio waves. You know, all the studies shows that it's some other form of energy, and or through visual sightings, which also contains information. That's really fascinating, and it's very, in my case, really expanded my consciousness to an amazing degree, and it's a life-changing experience, really, all I can say. And it's available to everyone, not unique to me or to anyone. It's really available to everyone. You know, for anyone who wants to, has a good intention, wants to try it, you know, for sure you're going to get some results in some way that's appropriate, you know, for you. So whenever you're ready, Zenka, I do have a lot of slides to go through, some videos, and then we shall have a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, I think that's really great that you're mentioning that anyone can do it. So this is the age of contact. This is the galactic renaissance, and it's not, you know, it's, you are able to do this, and he's taught so many people how to buy $50 worth of cheap hardware on Amazon and really have a totally deeper connection with what's coming and what's there and your lineage. So it's really exciting. And go ahead, we'd love to see the slides. We're going to be doing Q&A for the members that are here online. So welcome, members, and go for it.
Awesome, perfect. So let me share my screen. Make sure here that I activate the audio as well. There we go. Okay, let me know if you can see the screen.
Yeah, I can see it. Looks great. Yep.
Perfect. All right, so let's get rolling. So I'll put this here. Okay, so how it all started. So I'm going to share a bit my story. Really how it started for me, and it may be an inspiration to inspire people to get going themselves. So very simply, I mean, I've been an amateur radio operator since childhood. Since I'm 13 years old, I got my amateur radio license at a very young age. And one of my passion was to build antenna systems, which I've been doing pretty much, for the major part of my life. And so in 2013, there's been a bit of a turning point where I became interested in a modality called moon-bound communication. And I had never heard about this contact modality before. And it's a very exotic contact modality, which really consists in using the moon as a passive reflector, and use the moon essentially to bounce or to scatter radio waves off the surface of the moon itself in order to establish a two-way communication somewhere else on the planet. And we see a little bit diagram here of how the path looks like. We see my antenna system here, and then another radio station can be located anywhere in the world, really, as long as the common moon window between the two stations. And so in 2013, I started building my antenna system, a new antenna system, in order to make these kind of contacts. It requires a lot of very high-tech equipment. These antenna systems are very large, literally as large as my own home, and requires a lot of power as well. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of watts. And along the way, in 2016, I came up with a very unique design of antenna. It's I call a triangular array rotatable polarity, which made the cover page of a German magazine at the time in 2016. And I made a couple of I wrote a couple of scientific papers related to that. It was very technical stuff, but it was, at the time, again, I was totally into this moon-bound communication modality. And during that period, from 2013 to 2017, I made about almost 800 two-way communications that way. Fast forwarding to 2017, so I had been, pretty much all my life very interested in the universe, extraterrestrial UFOs and AT communications and so on. So in 2017, I became interested in the contact modality called CE5, or human-initiated contact. I'm sure a lot of people know about it. And I had watched some videos on the internet. I was very amazed and intrigued by what I was seeing. So I decided to, I had a bit more free time at the time, so I decided to give it a shot and try it. At the time, I wanted to set up a group, a C5 group, and I needed to find a contact site where we will be doing this contact work, on a regular basis. And so I had identified the site in Rose Valley, California, which was about an hour drive from my own home. Very deep in the valley, there was so deep that there was no cell signals at that location. Very remote, no human installations, no interference and things like that. So I had found a very nice place near a lake, which I had identified, and through Google Earth. And so I was going to go to that location to scout or screen that site for future contact work, right? That was my intention at the time. And so late April 2017, I said, what, since I have all this radio equipment to do moon-bound communication, which I had been doing now for years, I said, why not, putting together some kind of binary code message and broadcast this message out there, and to invite friendly civilizations to make contact. The binary code message contained the latitude and longitude where I will be going on a given night. So my intention was to go there on May 1st, 2017. So I had a few days prior to May 1st, I essentially broadcasted this message containing this greeting message, again, and this intention of peaceful contact. And I have actually the video of that, so I can play that. So this is a homemade binary code message that I broadcasted. So here we go. Let me know if you don't hear the audio, but it should play fine. So you can hear the audio, Zenka? Just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. So what you hear is a binary code message, and as you can see on the screen, I had each sentence of the message was encoded at a solfeggio frequency. So we see here 639 hertz, 528, 417, 396. So each sentence of that message was at a solfeggio frequency. It was like broadcasting music, essentially, with a message embedded in it. And I blasted this message throughout the solar system, pretty much, towards the sun, the moon, and the planets in the solar system. But I really was not expecting anything to happen, to be honest. It was more for the fun of it, really. And so I'll go back to the slide. So on May 1st, so a few days later, so I ended up going to the contact site, and I had brought with me a little handheld radio that we can see on the screen here. And I had tuned that handheld radio to the same frequency that I had broadcasted the message with my large radio station, right? And so I got to the site. It was a beautiful site near a lake. And I said, that's perfect for future contact work. Again, my intention was to set up a group and go to that site, for future contact work. And maybe 15, 20 minutes after arrival at that site, I decided to relax on the chair a bit, meditate maybe, and just relax. So I put my little handheld radio on the rooftop of my car, right? And then sat in the chair and just closed my eyes and start to relax and chill a bit. And the radio started going crazy, starting, making noise. And it was actually, at the time, I did not make the connection what was going on. So let me play the video of that, and so you can see a bit, what kind of interactions happened that night. So let me play the video.
It's 2:16 in the morning. The radio is very active right now.
So this is the kind of interaction that took place. And again, to be honest, the radio was making noise and I got almost annoyed. I said, why is the radio going crazy? I mean, I was just trying to relax, right? In the chair. I didn't realize that this was a reply to my message. So I didn't realize to me, it was, I was just not ready for it, right? I was just not even imagining it was possible. So, I was satisfied with the evening. I packed everything up, went back home, and I was intrigued. And during that week, I kept the radio on my belt, clipped on my belt, and I thought to myself, I said, it's so strange the radio behaved this way, right? Here I was in the middle of nowhere in a valley in the night, and the radio started interacting, right? There was just no good reason for that to happen, especially since I had been using this radio to do satellite communication. And so I know how radio behaves. I know what they're supposed to do or not do. And this behavior was completely not normal, right? But I didn't make the connection. So I kept the radio on me. I said, if there's an interference of some sort that triggered the interaction, it's going to happen while I am in town, right? At the bank, at the grocery store, where there's interferences. And yet the radio remained completely silent the entire week. And I started reading on the internet that, people doing CE5, that often the intelligence may interact with the electronic equipment. So that really puzzled me. So a few days later, I decided to repeat the experience again. This time I was with a friend. So I repeated the protocol. I broadcasted with my large radio station the greeting message with, coordinate time and date, where I will be on the given night and the time, and drove back to the site. Again, I was with a friend that night, and same thing happened. A few minutes later, the radio started doing the very same thing that it did the day of my first contact on May 1st, 2017. And it was very amazing because, we were asking questions and the radio seemed to be responding. There seemed to be some kind of intelligence behind the interactions, right? So this is how it started. That's how my story started. It became very obvious, from that point on, that these were replies to the invitation message, because the radio was just, very specifically doing it there and on that frequency, very frequency specific. And as we'll see later, these interactions were defying the laws of physics. Let me go to the next slide. So after that, I, creating these messages with binary code was a bit tedious. So I opted for a different technique. I improved my technique to encode messages. And so I started using a software called Photo Sounder. And the software is quite amazing, is that you can really import a picture. And that picture, it's like a postal card, can contain text with images, right? Like importing an image, essentially, which can contain the text that you wish to broadcast. And with that software, you can set the different frequencies, frequency band, and you can essentially encode that picture into an audio file. And we'll hear in a minute here how the audio file sounds like. But that audio file really encodes the picture, right? And if you use a simple spectrogram analyzer and you play that sound, that encoded sound, you will recreate the original picture, right? So I thought it was a very convenient way to add pictures to the text, which I was not able to do easily with the binary code technique. And so this really was an improvement in my technique. So I'm going to show an example here of a message that I encoded, a message that was directed to the Galactic Federation. And immediately after the broadcast, we'll see what happens to the radio. In this case, I had 3 identical radios. As we can see, they're all set to the same frequency, 144.1 megahertz, which was a frequency I broadcasted on. And again, these radios set the same frequency, identical. So if the interactions will be driven by any kind of regular radio waves, all these radios should behave exactly the same way, right? So same way if we listen to an FM radio station, we tune 3 identical radios, we're going to hear the same music, right? But as we'll see here, it's not what happens. So let me play the video, which shows the file that's encoded and the sound. You're going to hear the sound, and then what happened next. All right, so I think that gives a good idea here of what we're looking at. So very amazing. We can see the radio to the right going absolutely crazy. And these interactions are just unmatchable. It's impossible to replicate. I tried to replicate them. It's just, just impossible. So we see here that clearly these interactions are defying a lot of physics. And through a lot of tests that I conducted, because I have all the technical equipment to conduct these tests, these interactions are not driven by any kind of radio waves, right? So you can put the radio in a microwave or a Faraday cage, for instance, or take off the antenna entirely, and the interaction is going to take still going, right? So to give some background a bit here, so In terms of reach, I later found out that, I quickly found out that I didn't need really the large radio station to broadcast these messages to be heard. The small handheld radios themselves could literally be used to broadcast the same message and get replies with. And the reason why that is, technically, I can explain a bit, right? While my large radio station, as we can see up on the upper screen here, that the signal will physically reach all the planets in our solar systems, the moon, the sun. So that's the reach that it has. A small handheld radios like that, with 1 single watt of power, you can literally reach the moon. And there's a probe actually that went to a Chinese probe that went to the moon to do a round trip to the moon back in 2014. And the probe had a transmitter of only 1 watt of power. And throughout the journey to the moon and back, the amateur radio operator like me and others who have that kind of equipment could detect these transmissions, while again, this small probe had only a transmitter of 1 watt, right? Which is very similar to these handheld radios, which are actually even more powerful. These handheld radios typically will be able to deliver between 4 to 8 watts, which is more than enough in free space, in space, to go tens of thousands of miles and actually hundreds of thousands of miles. And this is with human technology. You can just imagine a ET technology that they can detect this signal radio wave even much farther. So with a few watts of power, it's more than enough to be heard, very, very deep in space. And actually, the satellites that are orbiting around the Earth that broadcast our, television and GPS system and this kind of stuff, they broadcast with milliwatts, fractions of watts, right? So again, we don't need a lot of power in free space to be heard. And so that's why these contacts are really possible, right? I found out that, these techniques could be used really to obviously request to make contact for sightings, to request for sightings, but also even to do healing. I've had my own healing experiences, and a lot of other experiencers I've been in touch with, they had healing experiences. And I forgot to mention here importantly that that technique, that radio contact modality, I shared with the community, the C5 community, early on in my experience in 2017. And many people like Zenka actually was the first to pass her amateur radio license, and which I'm very proud of her, and which I admire very much. So I shared this radio contact modality, and it became utilized worldwide. I've had contact and friends, contact group worldwide who've been using this very successfully. They made their own footage, they shared their own experience, and it's been working really across the board worldwide. And healing experience, as I said, are possible. I had my own. I had the back pain a few years ago. I played a lot of ice hockey when I was in Canada, and I had developed a lower back pain. And one night I was in pain. I broadcasted with my radio request to, for a healing request to have some relief from that pain. And I was not expecting anything one more time, right? And so I went to bed, and I had a lot of sweating during the night. And when I woke up the next day, the pain was completely gone, right? And I know other people have had these kind of experiences. So it's really amazing when you realize that the intelligence, if it is safe and appropriate, they may replicate and answer your request very, very specifically, right? So it's quite amazing. Another experience I had also back in 2019, which was probably one of my most profound experience with this radio contact modality. I broadcasted a message with my large radio station requesting for an out-of-body, I was requesting the intelligence to induce an out-of-body experience. And I had OBE, out-of-body experience throughout my life, more when I was younger. I have them a bit less now. But when I was younger, I had many OBE. And so essentially in that message, I was requesting for the intelligence to help inducing an out-of-body experience in which I will retain a physical memory of the experience. So I did not expect anything to happen, honestly. I broadcasted during the afternoon, and at about 9 o'clock at night, I was in my bedroom, fully awake and aware. I was sitting on my bed, and my eyes were open like we're now. And I was just about to lay down just to relax. Again, I was still very awake and aware like we're now. And all of a sudden, my energy body, I was just taken out of my body while I was conscious. My eyes were open and I was taken out of my body. It was an amazing experience. And I was fully awake and aware, and I saw a very bright light, a bit like what people, when they describe having NDE or near-death experience, or people passing away and coming back, they see this very bright light. So that's what I experienced. It was a very pleasant experience. And I opened up my arm to that light. And now I was obviously in my etheric body. I was not in my physical body. And then at some point, everything, I blacked out, and I don't know what happened after. So I don't know if I was taken somewhere. But again, the intelligence really replied and acted upon the request very, very specifically, right? So this is not a joke. It's really working. And again, don't need a large radio station like I have to make these requests. You can make with a small handheld radio, and actually you can just make it with your own consciousness while meditating, right? So it also works. So these radios are just really a technological aid, to help. And you can broadcast, anything between, from Morse code or binary code, like I did, these tones or these encoded message in audio file that I shared earlier. Music, the intelligence is very, very responsive to music. Your own voice, you can just speak through it. And again, if you can do meditate and think it through, right? And you may still get an answer, right? These radios are just really they are technological aid to make contact. So I have another, maybe a short video I can show here. It's a bit of a compilation of some of my experiences, and it starts with a message I broadcasted in November 2020, in which I was requesting the intelligence to produce a sighting during daytime, and so I could record the manifestation and share it with the world. Really, that was the essence of my message. So I broadcasted that with my large radio station, and I had indicated the coordinates where I will be. I was doing a hike every afternoon. I was close to my work. Every afternoon during lunchtime, I was doing a little hike. And at some point, so you will see in the video what happened. And then you will see some other experiences I had, some more nighttime, some more daytime. And I think it's just gave a good overview of how broad these contacts can be. So if I can play the video. So here we go. Okay, so that gives a bit an idea of the kind of manifestation we can, experience with this contact modality. So now, fast forward 2021, it was a big turning point for me. I moved to Arizona, not far from Sedona, not far from Zenka, actually. That I had plenty of space to set up my antenna system. You can see my radio station here to the left. I'm set up, that's where I'm sitting right now. And I reset up everything. And this time I set up cameras, and we can see here on the back side of the antenna system, there's a system of camera, and I have 3 different camera systems now set up on the antenna. And that was the first time actually that I had set up cameras on my antenna system, because when I was doing moon-bound communication, it was very undesirable to have electronic equipment with Wi-Fi, right? Because it creates noise, and once you want to hear this very weak signal from the moon, it was not something you wanted to have. So I had never done it, and now when I installed it, I was amazed, because during transmission I started having incredible video recording incredible sightings during these transmissions. We see here broadcast towards the moon, December 21st, 2021. These 2 objects, very clear, with a lot of shape, a lot of geometry to it. These are not bugs, obviously. And we can see the moon. You can see a little tree here. There was a bit of a chemtrail right there, and we see these objects just popping in and out. Dimension. This one was actually very amazing. I was doing a test. I was broadcasting. You can see here on the side, on the frequency, I was broadcasting a tone of 161.8 hertz. And for those who know a bit sacred geometry, 1618 is the golden ratio, right? And so I was broadcasting this tone to see if this tone will produce any kind of reaction. And during the broadcast of that tone, this triangular craft just popped in and out right in front of the antenna very briefly. And I was able to capture it with my camera system, again, that was set up on the back end of my antenna system. It was really remarkable. From there, I mean, literally, I've had many dozens, and it's more actually in the hundreds of sightings I was able to capture this way. You can see here, May 12, 2022. These 2 objects, May 6, 2022, I was broadcasting towards the moon. This little armada, these 3 objects, showing up June 14, 2022, so a couple of years ago, a bit over 2 years ago. Transmission towards Vega, this object, again, showing up right in front of the antenna. So I've had incredible experiences. I had all these screenshots, or I have videos actually of all these. We don't have time to watch all these videos, but if you go on my YouTube channel called Human Initiated Contact, you will be able to watch a lot of these videos. You see here, there's 3 objects, and I had more than 1 camera system, so I'm able to confirm that these sightings are not some kind of camera glitch or anything like that, because I have two separate camera systems, different technology that are recording the same thing, right? This one was very amazing. This fleet of ships just appearing right in front of the antenna. And interestingly, in this case, we see that these ships were really in the form of lambda, right? Which in science, lambda means wavelength, which a wavelength corresponds to a frequency. So clearly, it seemed to me that they were communicating something there. We saw this one, and then I started going down this rabbit hole, and things started to accelerate from there. And this manifestation, which I call the golden ratio triangular craft, was really the beginning of a different phase in my research. So not only I was experiencing sightings I could record, but the sightings had very defined shape. In this case, we see this triangle, which had a very peculiar shape. The first sighting I had was in December 5th, 2021. The second sighting, December 25th, the day of Christmas on 2021. We see this triangle here. And February 5th, 2022. And while analyzing this shape, I realized that this shape was actually very unique, because, do I have the slide here? So essentially, if we ratio any side of this triangle by any other side, we always get the golden ratio at a very high level of accuracy. Like if we take the side at the bottom here, we ratio that over the side on the upper left, we get the golden ratio. If we take the bottom of that segment, we ratio that over the smallest side on the upper right side, we get the golden ratio squared. And and if we take this side, upper left, divided by the right side, upper right, we get, again, the golden ratio. So it was an amazing thing because this triangle really contained the golden ratio in every aspect. And for those who know a bit, the golden ratio is really how growth and fractality occurs in our universe. It's really one of the most important number, right? Most important division that's happening in our universe. Even the hurricane, the way the hurricane, evolve, the way that our bones are set up, our cells divides, how the trees grow, the plants, the flowers, everything is based on golden ratio. So it was a very meaningful sighting, which occurred, as I said, 3 times, right, in a row. So when I realized that, I created actually my own message in which I was asking this intelligence, this golden ratio triangular craft, to manifest again. And I broadcasted this message again on 144.1 megahertz, and this time I had set up my second antenna system that I was able to use to broadcast on 432 megahertz. And this was even more powerful. The system on 432 is able of delivering over 250,000 watts of radiated power. So it's a lot of power. So I broadcasted this message, and I have the video of it. So let me show you what happened. So after broadcasting the message. And just to mention here that in that message, you will see that I specifically request the golden ratio triangular craft to manifest, essentially telling the intelligent I had figured out, that this golden ratio was encoded in this triangle. And so it was a way for me to send back my homework to them and say, hey, I figured it out, right? And so manifest again. So here it is. right. So this is what happened. And then I started getting deeper in the rabbit hole because I had a feeling that there was more than the golden ratio encoded in this amazing triangle. And so I use a software, as we can see to the bottom left, there are many online programs you can use on the internet, to model a triangle. So I punched in the relative dimension that I had measured for this triangle, and I started playing with this model and fine-tuning it. And I realized amazingly that the angle to the left side of this triangle was matching 4.32 degrees, which just happened to match one of the frequency I was broadcasting on, 432 megahertz. And then I realized that the other side of this triangle was 6.944 degrees. When I fine-tune the model, and I will show it on the screen, if we take 6.944 and we do the reciprocal 1 over x, we get exactly 144, harmonic 144. That's the reciprocal we see here. So this triangle not only contained the golden ratio, but contained the two frequency I was broadcasting on. It was just absolutely amazing to me. And then I realized after, and I'm obviously skipping some of the things that happen here because we have limited time, I realized that the intelligence actually was communicating a very specific mathematical formula. And, it was essentially that golden ratio triangle, as we saw, was containing the golden ratio, which is represented by this figure here, the symbol of the golden ratio symbol, and then was containing harmonic 144 and 432. And the product, when we multiply these three harmonics, we get exactly to the number 1, right? Which is essentially all that is, or we could say is equivalent to source of the consciousness field. So it was amazing to me, that's what I felt, that they were communicating clearly. And the mathematics of that works out perfectly. When you use the high speed of light harmonic, as we can see the bottom right here, we get the figure that's really, really close to 1, right? So then a few months later, in November 2022, a good friend of mine who's a very amazing experiencer, very connected with ETs, she asked me to analyze one of her footage. I had seen this footage before that she caught in 2016. Her name is Linda. She lives in Europe, in the Netherlands. And, she had seen my work and my research on this and this formula and everything. So, hey, Jimmy, can you look into it and see if there's, information encoded in this sighting? And in her case, Linda had requested a very specific manifestation of a V shape. And on a given night, she was, guided to go in the backyard with her camera. She made a lot of footage, and she was instructed essentially to hold the camera, in a certain direction, and the right moment she was instructed to start recording. And so I'm going to play the video of her experience, and what you will see here essentially is her holding the camera and pressing record, and we'll see what happened next. So amazing sighting, very profound experience. And Linda was very generous to share and allow me to use this footage and this analysis. So I ended up taking screenshot of the sighting we just saw to see if there was information encoded. So I took a screenshot of where the formation was stable. And we see here to the left the stable V shape that she had specifically requested. And using a little online tool here, I started measuring the angle of that V shape. And amazingly, the angle was exactly 144 degrees, as we can see here, exactly. Then I took a screenshot of the V-shape, right? We see the V-shape like contracting and then expanding again, and took relative measurements. And what we can see here, I did it in actually PowerPoint, as you can see, and we see the width or the relative measurement of these two length of the V-shape. And when we ratio these two, we get exactly the golden ratio squared. 2.618 is the golden ratio squared. And finally, the other formation we see in the video is like a tetrahedron with an inscribed sphere. Without going too much into the mathematics of it, a tetrahedron contains a sum of 720 degrees, and there are 60 minutes of arc per degree. So we end up with a harmonic 432. So amazingly, these 3 screenshots of this sighting was containing harmonic 144, revealing the golden ratio and harmonic 432, which again was matching this formula here, which I call the universal formula for the light encoded reality matrix, from which everything in our universe is based on. And without going too much into the matter, this really led me in my research to find out that using geometric harmonics, we could essentially recreate all reality from the quantum space, the Planck length, the quantum space, to the subatomic particles that makes up the material world, to the scale of the universal scales, to the entire universe, that everything in our universe has a representation of these 3 pillars of creation: harmonic 144, 432, and the golden ratio. We can see here, for instance, when we multiply the golden ratio square by the square root of harmonic 144, we get the mathematical constant pi, for instance, which is the foundation of our geometry. We take 432 divided by the square root of harmonic 144, we get the number of degrees in a circle, 360 degrees. And here, 432 times the square root of 144, we get the pyramid angle, the great pyramid angle. And at the bottom, we get the precession of the equinox. Even the golden ratio itself has a representation in terms of this harmonic 144, 432. And the harmonic 432 itself is just 3 times 144, right? If you take 3 times 144, I'm gonna do it on the screen so you can see it. Can 3 times harmonic 144 gets 432, right? So there's this harmonic 144, which is represented by the letter C here, is the common denominator that everything in the universe is based on. That light energy, the spark of light energy, is everything. We can recreate an entire physics based on that. Did a lot of calculations. I can demonstrate, and you can see on my YouTube channel, for instance, I do have some interview where I go deeper in the mathematics of it. But even the velocities of our galaxies, star clusters, are basically tuned to this harmonic of creation, right? The Milky Way, for instance, goes at a speed of 287.3 nautical miles per geometric second, which is 2 times harmonic 144, 99.8% accuracy. The Andromeda galaxy is exactly tuned to harmonic 44.1, actually, amazing. The Pleiades cluster, again, 2 times harmonic 144. If we calculate the energy using the general relativity equation, we calculate the energy of the water molecule, we get 1 over golden ratio, right? We see that, again, it's all based on these 3 pillars of creation: harmonic 144, golden ratio, or harmonic 432. If we calculate the mass energy of our Milky Way galaxy, again, using E equal mc squared, we're going to get 1 over golden ratio, which I call the primordial fractalization, at 99.93% accuracy. Even the distance of our planets to the sun are perfectly tuned to the golden ratio. As we can see, the Venus average distance to the sun is 36 golden ratio. The Earth or planet is 50 golden ratio. Mars is 75, and so on. And we see the percentage of accuracy in blue here, all very, very highly. So everything is perfectly tuned to that in our universe. Even in the flower of life, if we count the number of petals in the flower of life and the number of these inverted triangles, we get 90 petals plus 54 triangles adds up to 144. Biology, the way the cells divide, it's all golden ratio proportion. And amazingly, if we take a cross section of a DNA molecule, or even our own DNA, realized that DNA molecule is made of 10 decagon, and the inner angle of each decagon is exactly 144 degrees. The pentagons, you see we ratio the side A over B, we get it's all golden ratio proportion. So everything is tuned to these harmonics, 432 golden ratio, harmonic 144. Earth gravity density is based on the reciprocal of harmonic 144, and so on. And so this is what this led me to, and this is why this formula, these 3 pillars of creation, how I call them, are so important. And they are also encoded in the Great Pyramid of Giza. I don't recall if I have a slide. I think I may have a slide on it. But why is it important is that once we understand really how the universe really truly works, this universe made of this light energy that we're all made of, then we'll be able to develop technologies based on this new understanding of the universe, which will allow us to develop healing technologies, develop interstellar communication, very importantly, develop free energy, which was exactly what was Tesla working on, exploiting this free energy from the Earth grid, which is all tuned to this harmonic 144 again. The telepathy will see that even our brain waves are tuned to this harmonic, and human resonance as well, develop anti-gravity, space travel. So that's why this is what the intelligence was trying and is communicating through these sightings, through my own sightings, the sighting through Linda's sighting, but also it's even encoded in the Great Pyramid of Giza and many ancient sacred sites around the world. So out of all this work, I was able to come up with these very, very simple formulas that are all based on the division of the one, right? Everything in our universe is really a division of this one, of this spark of energy. One could call it the Big Bang, right? That could represent this singularity, this original singularity, depending on what your point of view is. But everything in our universe is based on the division, is a division of this one, right? And as I described earlier, through the golden ratio principle and this harmonic 144, which is represented by the letter C here, we can recreate everything in our universe, from the quantum space, the material world, the mass of the atom, like the neutrons and protons making up the atoms, the mass of the observable universe, and even gravity. These are the same formula with some additional ones that are described here that came out of this work. And I broadcasted actually these formulas, these slides, because now I'm broadcasting the result of my research. I'm broadcasting back these slides to the universe with my antenna system, and I can show a little bit of it. But I broadcasted essentially this material, these slides, and during the broadcast, it was on December 16, 2023, which just recently passed, like 3-4 months ago. There were 16 manifestations during the broadcast of these slides. And I have the video here. I can show some of it. We'll see let me play the video here. We have only 4 minutes left. I'm going to try to accelerate. We'll see the antenna moving, going in the direction of the Orion belt. So this transmission was made towards the Orion belt. So that's what we see, the antenna going in that direction. And then I started broadcasting, turn off the light, broadcasting now. And what we'll see here is a series of flashes happening right in front of the antenna array. You just follow the little prompter, you'll see where they're happening. So right at the bottom of the Orion belt, started with a little flash here, which again was captured by 2 different camera systems. So these are not camera glitch or anything like that. The second one to the right side, manifestation 2. It was really a total of 16 manifestations like that took place. And one of the ships was stationary in the sense that it manifested 9 times from exactly the same location. See here again, the right side. And this was during the broadcast of these slides, of these formulas. Again, the sighting we're seeing now is the stationary object, which stayed there, during the 25 minutes broadcast and kept flashing 9 times in a row, which I captured everything on camera from the exact same location. Obviously, these are not satellites, right? The satellite is not stable. It's not stationary like that for a long period of time. And this was actually at the time of the night where the Earth was falling in the Earth shadow. And so there was no possibility even to any satellite to reflect any light. It was so late that night. And so I got these 16 manifestations again, the stationary object coming back again. And we have just a couple of minutes left, so I'm just going to maybe, again, this is camera number 2, just to show that this is not a camera glitch, different technology, different camera, and we're seeing the same flash, same manifestation taking place. So I will end it there because we just have a couple of minutes left. So again, this one on, I have a 16 manifestation that took place during the broadcast of these slides, of this formula, this mathematical formula, which was for me a very profound confirmation that, you know, this was, you know, a validation that this information was important, right? And this harmonics of creation was really something that we needed to pay attention to. And presentation. I think there's a lot of text. Hold on. I think I have. A glitch. Maybe let me go out. Let me disconnect and reconnect here. I will stop here. There's a little glitch. I will disconnect and reconnect right away. So this is very strange. I can hear myself say so like non-stop, and it just keeps doing it in a row. Can you hear that? I cannot hear you, Zenka. So there's something going on. I will disconnect again and try again because I just hear myself say so non-stop, and I cannot hear anything. So I will disconnect and reconnect again. Okay. So it's still not solved. I apologize. I cannot hear anyone, and I just hear myself. So maybe, Zenka, you're gonna have to leave the session. And we're gonna have to restart the Zoom session.
The same issue here. I can just see myself in a loop. It's a very weird bug.
Okay, can you guys hear me, Marcia? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we'll wait until I think he says he's back on, but I don't see him. This is so cool. That is so cool. Let's see. Oopsie, okay. Okay, Jimmy, sorry about that. It wasn't giving me the admit thing at the top. Joining, okay. Okay, Jimmy, awesome. Sorry about that. It wasn't giving me the join there, but I had to open the tray first, so sorry about that. All right, so we just have 20 minutes. Are you okay to do some questions and answers, 20 minutes? And we'll upload this as well tomorrow.
Of course.
Not
I'm happy to.
So it was quite interesting because that was looping at the word soul.
Well, yeah, right. Actually, that's right. That's right. You could hear it as well. You could hear this. Soul.
No, but
No?
Coffee had it on her phone, and she was like, "It's saying soul." I couldn't hear it from here, so that's very interesting. So the questions I had for you was a couple things. Well, first of all, how are you connected with Andromedan and Arcturian? Are those the races that you feel closest to? And if so, do you mostly just deal with the math with them, or is it something a little bit more intimate, or do you like them for a particular reason? I was looking at Deborah Solaris's website today, and I saw the Andromedans, and I got like a lot of like, oh, cool. Like, and I've always, it was Andromedans was really the first race that I'd ever heard of. And so it has special meaning for me. But what would you say to all that?
Well, yeah, it's a big question here. So I mean, my experience, a lot of it, I mean, right now it has evolved where there's a lot of just a continuous flow of information coming through. It's like a waterfall of information. As soon as I have a quiet moment, there's information, and it's very mathematical, right? I mean, you saw some of it. It now became very, very mathematical in this new perspective on physics, if you will. And so I don't really know, honestly, exactly what's the origin of the information that's coming from. I've had the specific sightings from the Arcturians. I have actually a video of a ship that, and I feel that sighting coming an hour and a half prior to the sighting actually occurring. And I was in the field recording, right? I had always an audio recorder that I have in the field to record the audio, because sometimes there are things happening right around where you are physically located. And I verbalized that I felt that there will be an Arcturian ship that will be coming and producing flashes and interacting that way. And an hour and a half later, it's exactly what happened. And I have the video, and it's on my YouTube channel. You can see it. And the flash took a position and kept producing flashes like nonstop for over an hour and a half. Actually until I left, it never stopped. I was starting to freeze. Right, it was cold outside in Rose Valley at night. So at midnight, I said I need to go home. It was 12:10. 10 past midnight, so I had to go, and the ship was still there. Now I cannot, in that case, I could not prove was it the Arcturians, right? Because unless you're in a ship and you see them, right? But I felt them, and I verbalized it prior to the sighting occurring, right? So I'm, so it's very difficult to describe, right? It's a feeling as well, right? But these are a lot of these kind of experience I've had. And the next day there was literally a fleet of ship just passing over my head above my residence, and it was just an amazing set of experiences, that I had with them. But a lot of it is very, it's like that. A lot of radio interactions, but I don't always know, obviously, what intelligence is behind the interactions. So. It's a complex. I see a lot of things happening during the night also. Often I wake up, either during the night or in the morning, and I have a lot of information coming through. So there seems to be a lot going on during the night as well, during my nighttime. So I know there's a lot of activity. Maybe in some way I'm not allowed to remember everything, or for some reason that maybe will disrupt what I'm supposed to do here, or will influence too much my current life, right? So maybe I'm not allowed to remember everything. So a lot of things like that. It's just been very amazing. But clearly the energy is there, the information is flowing, constantly, and it's been transformative for me, really, in many ways.
Yeah. So what should we do for the CE5, and how can we set this up to make it unusual and very from the heart, and very like, let's do something really fun with them? And what would you like to do as an experiment? How can we do something new?
Yeah, I mean, so what we'll do, we'll broadcast a message, right, on April 25th. What will be good to do is to actually create a message prior to this experiment and broadcast our intent to do this experiment a few days prior to doing it. So this way, the intelligence is aware of it. Maybe you can send me a message, Zenka, and I will encode it, and I will broadcast it a few days prior. And, it's a matter for the participants, for those who are interested, to think through it prior doing it, right? Meditate through it, and ask the intelligence to manifest on that day of April 25th. And so it's all consciousness, right? Everything is connected to consciousness really at the end of the day. So more we prepare and we engage and we have a common intent, from the heart, obviously, with good intent, right? Better the chance that something is going to take place. Hopefully there's not going to be any clouds. We have a clear sky, right? And but I have again, I can connect remotely to my antenna system and share my screen through Zoom, right? So we'll be able to see physically what's happening in the sky. We'll see the antenna systems, and as we broadcast, if there's any kind of manifestations, we'll see it live happening, right? So best is to prepare in advance and ask for the intelligence. The other thing also, I realize doing this work, and this may sound crazy for some, or like, what? is that, as we know, and science demonstrate that the time doesn't exist, right? Time is an artifact of our senses. It's really an illusion. Actually, the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2022 demonstrated that there's no locality, right? There's no locality in time. It's all connected to the entanglement phenomenon, and there's no reality to localism, right? To space, really. Our concept notion of space-time is really archaic, right? From that standpoint, everything is happening at once at the same time, and so I realized that when I broadcast these messages, like today, a broadcast that we may make today, and actually the one we're going to make on April 25th, that broadcast will resonate and can influence our past, right? And that past will reshape the future, reshape our present and the future. And so that's how things works, right? There's just no time. Everything is happening simultaneously at once. So we can reshape and recreate our own past through that, for intent, and reshape our perception of our current time and future. So I realized that more I was making these transmissions, for instance, that more I was sharing the result of my research and sharing these slides, that it was triggering these interactions and these manifestations, and actually may have actually triggered this out-of-body experience that I've experienced when I was a child, in my childhood, you see? So what I do today can influence what I experienced in my childhood. All these OBEs and out-of-body experience. So that's how crazy it is. And I know for humans, we're not used to think that way, but that's really how things works, right? In this multi-dimensional universe we live in, this holographic universe we live in. So it's really limitless in terms of what we can achieve and what we can do with this once we comprehend how things works. And we can use that actually even to heal ourselves, right? From, let's say we have, somebody has a cancer or something, or the illness of some sort, we can change our past and heal ourselves in the present, right? And influence what's going to happen in the future. So that's how things work. So that's very powerful when we understand how mind works and consciousness works. And I think humanity has been depraved from that knowledge for thousands of years. I mean, a lot of this information has been known, encoded actually in ancient sacred site, all this knowledge through the sacred, mythology and mythicism and so on. This knowledge has been there, but for some reason seems to have been suppressed or forgotten, right? And now we're really rediscovering this knowledge, how powerful we are, and we need to let push aside these boundaries that's been set for us, since we're a child. We're born with these boundaries that's been created, right? We've been told, well, you cannot go faster than speed of light, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, right? And you cannot do telepathy, and you cannot bend spoon, right? And we realize that's not true. We can actually do all these things, right? We can do miracles, really. It's just a matter of trying it. And if you think about it, everything I showed tonight, again, is accessible to anyone. It's not unique to me at all. But why is it happening? It's just because I do it, right? Because I've pushed that boundaries of saying that it's not possible, I shouldn't try. Just the fact by trying it, having the intent of doing it, will allow this to happen, right? We are creating our reality, creating the way we perceive things. And so just the act of the intention of trying it and believing that it's possible and just breaking these boundaries that's been set for us will create an entire new world, a new reality for us, right? And that's what a lot of the focus of my work right now, and it's very powerful, again, accessible to everyone.
Yeah, I like what you said about time, because most of us on the call right here are used to the idea of, healings happening. And I mean, that's also, the research Ray Hernandez has said that ET context is tied with massive healing. And it occurred to me just now that, well, time is still something that we don't know about. And even the consciousness, community is not really understanding it as well as I think. My whole reason actually for starting LightNet is to understand time and to do it through collective intelligence. Now, Dan Winter talked about how the imploding torus, where it starts to go into harmonics, time is where the thing folds inside out. But what I got that we should do on the 25th, when we do the CE5, is actually just send them fractality, send them artwork of fractals, because this is kind of like what, you say, hey, wait a minute, I got what you guys sent me, I'm sending it back, and they get all excited because there's like your student that's like seems to be learning really well. So, and I wonder, like, this is would be sort of a celebration, kind of like when we made music with them. It's sort of like saying, like, something beyond words, something, I mean, fractality is the math of everything. And it's the beauty of everything. And it's how the holographic, it's how it all works. It's how we find ourselves in that. So I think that would be interesting. And I think as a secondary intention for all of us could be to pick one experience that you want to change in your past. And I want you to write down and theorize, if that thing changed in the past, how would it affect your future? And then we will see after, Jimmy's, CE5, what happens to our lives, as we improved this one piece of our past. And then I will get my antenna, to run. So we'll see what's coming through. The actual antennas hooked to the computer, and cubic SDR. And you too, well, let's get our phones and we'll see if they can send us fractals back. Cheers.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, let's try that, and we can combine, that message. We can include a fractal. We can include, a music that's accelerated, like, I can compress an entire symphony in 10 seconds, right? This kind of stuff. So I do have actually a multi-dimensional message like that contains sacred geometry, words, there's regular text. There's a symphony number 5 adagiato that's encoded in it. So it's an entire, it lasts about 1 minute. It contains all these things, right? So we can do creative things like that. And as you mentioned, it would be great to, think something about the past that you want either to change or maybe remember, right? You may want just to ask to unlock a memory that's been.
Okay, I love that.
And you will see if something pops up, so all of a sudden say, oh, I remember something from my childhood or my past that's significant, right? Maybe a contact you've had during the night or day, your dream time, and see if something unlocks from there, right? So we'll ask for the assistance of the intelligences out there, and I'm sure something's going to take place.
That's very interesting. Someone said to me last weekend that they believe that everyone had contact with aliens before there were 7. All of us have had it and not remembered. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, that would be a large percentage. So this is really beautiful. I also think it would be cool to salute Nadi, Nadi Hanna, who was our crop circles professor and a dear friend of ours. And so it'd be interesting to send her some artwork, fractal artwork as well. Now, we talked to Dr. Simeon Hein, who said that when there were fractals in the crop circles, so when there was the golden mean in the crop circle, it would break the equipment. And that was the thing that he noticed, versus this one, versus this one, versus this one. So I think you're right. There's something about the fractality of it and something about these numbers. And it's interesting because one of the questions I was going to ask you is, why do you think they're sending you this information? Why do they want you to understand what happens when we understand how the holographic universe is? And you had a whole slide. You're like, okay, let's do spaceships and whatever. So maybe this is really, a really great opportunity to also broadcast this math to all of the inventors in the world that are going to be using it to start a galactic renaissance. You know what I mean? It's like ETs are coming here, but I want to go out there too, like take me around. Like I want to go see stuff, I go to Andromeda, So, Marsha.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that was one of the points for me of broadcasting these formulas at the end, and they manifested like 16 times in 25 minutes, right? I think what they are telling us here is that once we understand how the universe really works, this forgotten science, if you would, a forgotten perspective on our real science and physics, with these harmonics of creation, it all comes back to this light energy, right? And once we understand that, we'll be able to create technologies that will allow us to free ourselves, free humanity from its current dependencies and limitations, right? We'll be able to have free energy, develop anti-gravity, and reconnect with our galactic family, right? And I think that's what they're telling us. And amazingly, this knowledge is encoded in, just look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, the very size. I have a slide, I didn't show it tonight, we didn't have time, but I have a slide that shows that all the dimension of the Pyramid of Giza, the angle, and everything is absolutely, completely based on these three harmonics of creation, 144, 432, and the golden ratio, right? So this is it, right? Once we understand that, then they've been communicating that to us clearly. I mean, to me, through the golden ratio triangular craft, to Linda for her amazing V-shaped sightings. It's encoded in ancient sacred sites around the world, right? They're saying, look, they're putting the information right in our face and just waiting for us to wake up to it, realize it and expand our consciousness and start using this knowledge. I think the message is pretty clear.
Yeah, so cool. Now, Marcia actually had the same question I had. Marcia has been in our radio teams repeatedly. She's a great experiencer and such a brain here. So thanks for joining us, Marcia. And you're still on mute real quick. Yeah, you're doing it.
All right. It's good to see you all. Yeah, my question was, have you tried to decipher, besides thinking that they are showing you the golden ratios and all that, have you tried to decipher if they're giving you a verbal message of some sort?
Okay, good question. I often get that question if I had decoded something, right? I will break down the answers in two different portions. The answer is yes, in terms, I mean, I do have an entire video, again, we just didn't have time tonight, but one of the energy signature that manifests through one of my radio is very unique. I call it the 8 tones. And that energy signature, when I analyze it through a spectrum analyzer, contains 8 frequencies that are embedded, right? I can see through the spectrum analyzers. And when I use this frequency, I combine these frequencies, I was able to recreate essentially all the physics formulas and the mathematical constants. I mean, not physics formula, the physics constants and mathematical constants, and the size of the sun and the size of the moon and the Schumann resonance and all this stuff, right? It's encoded in these 8 frequencies. So again, it comes back to a lot of mathematics and how the universe works and how everything is connected. So I have an experience like that. And again, if you go on my YouTube channel, you will see a video called Decoding the 8 Tones. And so you watch the video, you will see the entire thing. So that's one part of the answer. Now, the other part of the answer is we often want to hear some kind of verbal message or an audio message or something we can, read, right? And it's not really, my experience is not how they communicate. It's more, it's broader than that. It's more multidimensional. And what I realize actually, because I do have still a lot of interactions for my radios, I mean, every day, literally. And as I mentioned before, it's not radio waves, it's some kind of energy that they are transmitting. And what I'm pretty convinced at this point is that they are not only transmitting, energy to make the radio interact, but I think they're actually uploading information into us, into our consciousness that way. Right? That energy, the radio is just an interface, if you will, that will interact, and they do it purposely to show their presence. But that energy that they transfer during their interaction may contain information that's uploaded into our subconscious that will materialize and come to surface in the form of inspiration or message at the right moment, right? And that's how they communicate. It's very profound. It's much more profound than we typically think. And very possibly also that a lot, for instance, of my own inspiration in my research comes from that energy being transferred to me and comes in the form, I feel it in the form just of inspiration, right? Information comes to me, but maybe a result of this energy being channeled through my own DNA in my own body, right? And just materialize at the right moment. So it's very, very profound. And you think about it, the information is so important, right? A lot of it explains how the universe works, how consciousness works, right? They're teaching us through this modality, and it's very, very profound. It goes beyond words, really.
Thank you, Jimmy. So we're closing up on the hour. And to review, next in 2 weeks, instead of meeting at 6:30, we're meeting at 8 because we're going to do the CE5. And if you guys have, is it okay if people email me these fractal images that they love, and then I send them to you?
Yes.
So
yes, if you send me what you get from the audience, ideas of fractals and things like that, I will create a message, multi-dimensional message that will encode these fractals. If there's a verbal message or written message you want to express with that, just make it part of it. I will encode that as well. So we'll have fractals, sacred geometry, messages, and maybe a little symphony encoded in this, and that's what we're going to broadcast.
okay, amazing. And then I want all of you guys to write down the thing that you want to ask for a memory, or you want to adjust something in your past in order to affect your future. So talk about what that incident. It's important that everyone writes it down, speaks it out loud, so that everyone's clear, all the ETs are clear on what we're asking and requesting, and that so we can also see what happens with all of us. So you can send all that stuff to team@lightnet.org. And this is a great chance for you guys to reach out. We're about to be launching our new platform this month or next. So this is a great chance for you guys to reach out to your friends, starseedacademy.org/join, to be part of this incredible experience. So thank you so much, Jimmy. This is going to be so fun. I can't wait. I'm just like excited to see what's going to happen. And I love that we're making art for them, and we'll see what they want to do on their end. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Zenka, for the opportunity, for the platform. And again, I always say the same thing, it's all accessible to everyone. Just a matter of trying it and, having the intent of doing it. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation tonight. More information available on my YouTube channel, Human Initiated Contact. You can connect with me also on Facebook, just my name. You can, send a friendship request. And we'll be in touch. It's a lot of fun, and it's life-changing.
Yeah, awesome. I've been sharing those links. I just put them in again for you guys tonight. So all right, try to remember your dreams tonight, you guys. Sending love. Thanks again, Jimmy.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.